Hi guys, this is Sonal from Tap Easy, and in this video I want to share with you 3 ways in which tapping works, and not all of those ways are always obvious. The first way in which tapping works is through immediate relief. That is, if you had pain somewhere and you tapped on it and you find immediate relief, or you were experiencing an emotional upset, maybe anger, disappointment, discouragement, or some sort of sadness, and then you tapped on it and you immediately feel better. You feel better after a few rounds, and that is you notice the results pretty quickly. So that is immediate relief. The second way in which tapping works is slightly indirectly through insight or a shift in perspective. Say you were tapping on a problem with, say, maybe your parents, and then you had some grievances, and then you tapped on that you acknowledged those grievances. While growing up, maybe you held them responsible for certain things they did, and then you tapped on those. And this may you may feel a little bit better, but also it may create it may you may receive an insight or a shift in perspective, such as they did the best they could, or they I turned out pretty all right anyway, something like that. A creative insight or a shift. Maybe that you were stuck with some money issues, and then you just couldn't find your way out of it, and then you tapped on your money issues, you acknowledged the issues, you did the tapping, and then suddenly you realize that there is a shift in perspective. There is a creative insight, like, oh, I have not explored that opportunity, maybe I should do that. And then there is sudden hope, a shift in perspective, and then of course then hopefully you will act on that insight or shift in perspective, and then you will make progress from then onwards. So, like, this was not instant relief, instant results, but there was a shift in perspective, and acting on which, or believing that from then onwards, will change things for you. The third and a not so obvious way is by starting a vibrational undercurrent. That means that you sat down, you did the tapping, and then after a while you thought, okay, fine, I'm not really reaching anywhere, I feel some relief, it's all right, maybe I should just get up and go about my life anyway. So there was no real obvious relief, you didn't even feel any shift, no insights arose, and then you just got busy. But unbeknownst to you, by acknowledging your emotions about that issue which was bothering you and doing the tapping alongside, you started a vibrational undercurrent, effects of which may be seen in the next, a few days, a few weeks, months, maybe even years. Because what it did was shift perspective or shift things in a way that was not obvious in your immediate surroundings and not obvious to your conscious mind either. This will result in attracting people, events, circumstances, coincidences, thoughts, ideas, opportunities to you that you may not be able to directly correlate with tapping, but that undercurrent has begun anyway. So your vibrational state has changed, which is not oftentimes easy to notice, and it's also not easy to attribute it back to tapping, that hey, I did tapping that day, maybe that started, like the tapping which I did 2 months ago, maybe that started all of this. Maybe you can do that, maybe you can't. So in this way, in this third way, tapping works like a prayer. Like you don't often attribute, like, oh, my success I can attribute to that day when I prayed, so it's not very obvious. But if you did the tapping, if you acknowledged your emotions about that issue, you did make a shift. It always does something. So that is the third way in which tapping works, and which is not always very obvious, and then we may end up feeling like we did so much tapping but it didn't do anything. One of the ways to spot if tapping worked in this way indirectly is to maybe realize that before you did the tapping, say 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, that day, things were not really moving, and then now things are moving. What has changed? What has shifted? So was it tapping? Did it start some sort of a vibrational undercurrent? So these are the 3 ways in which you can get tapping to, you can, this is the way, these are 3 ways in which tapping works for you, and all of them are not always very obvious. So I'd say stick to your tapping routine, do tapping, anything that bothers you, definitely bring it to the surface using tapping, and then clear it out, because you never know in which one of these 3 ways tapping is going to work for you. So until next time, happy tapping.